Alright guys, it's time to talk about Marvel's latest masterpiece. I'm sorry the dog is here. He wanted to be here. I didn't know what to do with him. Thor Love and Thunder. The movie that came out like a month ago to mixed reviews. I think we can agree. Yes, can I help you? Are you tired of being here yet? Falling asleep. You'll be asleep in no time, buddy. Yes, can I help you? Alright, his favorite movie is whatever Marvel movie has a dog in it. Catwoman. Anyway, classic MCU movie, Catwoman. You want to see Sonic? Listen up, I went to see this movie with ridiculously low expectations because even though I thought Thor Ragnarok was quite good, there were some things about Thor Ragnarok I wasn't too crazy about. I thought the humor was a little bit corny at times. I don't typically like Thor movies to be jokey. It kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, and I was ready for a more serious Thor movie. What are you doing? You're not even like a normal shape right now. Okay. With Taika Waititi attached to the project, I was like, no, it's gonna be more Ragnarok, but probably worse because it's gonna be the second movie, and probably he got the idea that jokier equals good. And the reviews started coming in, and they were not good. I didn't see anyone, not one person out there going, Thor Love and Thunder was incredible. I'm sure they exist, but the consensus seemed to be mid at best. I feel like this movie was better than it got credit for being. You're tired now, huh? He's bored. He's bored. He gets bored. All right, get out there. Well, don't look at me like that. Do something. You have water? You have a bed? This is a door? You want to go outside? I expected some garbage, okay? I expected something bad. I expected Ragnarok minus 200, okay? But what I got was Ragnarok minus 20, maybe? I actually very much appreciated the way the movie started. We're introduced to our villain, Gore, played by Christian Bale, the Batman. No, not the Batman, a Batman. He's this guy who's just like wandering the desert in some alien planet or whatever with his daughter, and they're starving and they have no water. They're gonna die. They are 100% gonna die. Unfortunately for Gore, his daughter dies first. Okay, she dies in his arms and he is broken, completely broken. Like soon after that, he finds this oasis in the middle of the desert, and it's like amazing. There's like water, there's like fruits, there's all the stuff that could have kept them alive, right? And it's this god, the god that he believes in, is just hanging out there like it's his garden, because it is. The god that he talks to turns out to be an asshole, and the god has defeated someone with some kind of like the dark sword or whatever, the god killer, okay, sword, which is kind of like this cursed sword where you can use it to actually kill the god. And Gore is pissed off, you know, like he realizes that this god is an asshole. It's like, why did I devote my life to this guy? He doesn't give a shit about me or my daughter dying. So Christian Bale, Gore, grabs the god killer sword and kills the dude, kills the god, cuts his head off, and he becomes possessed by the sword. It kind of turns him, it almost like turns him into like the Penguin from Batman Returns. Like those two could definitely be brothers, I think. And so he goes on the kind of god-killing rampage, and obviously he sets his sights for the likes of Thor and Asgard, new Asgard, which is now being run by Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie character. You've got Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy hanging out. He's gone from chunky Thor to dad bod Thor to just kind of like muscly Thor again. He's worked on his health a little bit, his physical health, mental health. It's kind of getting there, you know? But then the Guardians of the Galaxy just leave and they don't come back, which is insane. Am I crazy, or did they build the shit out of this movie? This movie was meant to be Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor on adventures, I'm pretty sure. And I'm like, what was the point of building that relationship up so hard in like Infinity War, Endgame, All this just for like 2 minutes of screen time? And also, they could have brought them back. I'll tell you when in a minute. But it's just like, Thor is kind of lonely at this point, and he goes back to New Asgard. And he's kind of like, he's not useless, but there's already someone running Asgard, and the Guardians leave him because they're kind of tired of him at this point. So he's kind of just wandering around until Gore shows up, and there's like a bunch of creatures attack New Asgard, because at the same time, we learned that Jane Foster is suffering from cancer, okay? I believe that was in the comics. And of course, as we know from the trailers, she becomes the mighty Thor. She finds the remains that were in some kind of museum, the remains of Mjolnir, which, of course, as we remember, got destroyed by Hela when she went... And the remains kind of like Terminator 2 themselves back together. It chooses her. And initially, I was like, why? They have an explanation for it, which is not entirely convincing, but fine. Well, like Thor, at one point in the past, when they were together, you know, he and Jane Foster, he told the hammer, it was like, take care of her, please. And then something got inscribed on the hammer, like a spell, because of that. It's a weak explanation. It's really weak. Magic, whatever. Thor's a wizard, apparently, guys. I don't know. I don't know why, okay? Thor's a wizard. But you didn't know that shit. The monsters of, you know, attacking New Asgard. Thor's fighting. Valkyrie is fighting them. Gore's around, like, getting ready to kick ass. And then the mighty Thor shows up. Jane Foster is now kind of like, looks healthy, strong, you know, dressed like Thor. And it's really awkward. They all fight together, and they manage to get Gore to leave, basically, because he kind of realizes that he's a little bit outmatched at this point. But unfortunately, he takes all the children of Asgard with him. Like all of them. Gore takes the children to the Shadow Realm. And basically, he's acting like he's going to kill them. But he's just kind of scaring them the whole time, because he's this creepy, creepy guy. Christian Bale's actually awesome in this movie. He is terrifying. He does a great, great job. But he is funny as well, in a kind of like, he's so messed up looking that it all goes around to actually being kind of funny. But in a good way. That's a positive thing. But yeah, so Gore's plan is actually to lead the gods to show up to the Shadow Realm, so Gore can steal Stormbreaker, that has the ability to create like a rainbow bridge kind of portal, right? And he wants to use that to go to eternity, where he can make a wish of destroying all the gods, and they all get killed, basically. Obviously, Thor and the others want to stop him doing that, but it's gonna take some brains and some strength to do that, which turns out to be a bit difficult. In terms of characters, you got Jane Foster, terminal cancer. She's dealing with that. Becomes the mighty Thor. You've got Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson, who I am genuinely tired of at this point. I'm not tired of Tessa Thompson as an actress. I'm just tired of that character. I feel like Valkyrie, there's like nothing... I'm not getting anything from that character, really. In terms of the action scenes, yeah, she's cool, fine, whatever. But I don't find Tessa Thompson particularly funny as that character or interesting. There's a point in this movie where they kind of like, they could have killed her off and, you know, created some drama for Thor. There's already drama in this movie, don't get me wrong, but yeah, they could have done that. They don't do it, and I'm a little bit like, you might have just done that, you know. Also, Korg is in this movie. He gets his ass kicked, and then he's just ahead for a while because he can just come back together. I don't like in these movies, okay, in these Disney Marvel movies, where they go back on, and not just Disney Marvel movies, just Disney movies in general, where they go back on a solid idea. And they keep doing this, where it's just like, they go to kill off a character or do something dark, potentially, or, you know, or do something kind of challenging with a character. And they do it for the instant kind of drama of it, but then they go back on it, you know? Like here, for example, they destroy Korg, and it is really dramatic when it happens, really well done, but then they go back on it instantly. Oh, he's just a face, he's fine. No, you gotta kill off your babies, okay? In the realm of movies I'm talking about. Your favorite character as a director, you gotta kill him off sometimes. Not always, and it has to be earned, and it has to make sense. Not like Star Wars killing off Han Solo. It has to be earned. It has to make sense, and it has to lead somewhere. like an interesting character arc. Okay, now Star Wars, another good example. C-3PO, they were gonna erase his memory, they went back on it instantly. Chewbacca, they were gonna kill Chewbacca, went back on it instantly. Oh, it's a misunderstanding. You get the drama in the moment, but then it's gone back upon. So I hate that. I hate that a lot. They should have killed Korg and Valkyrie, in my humble opinion. Because this movie, while it is very, very jokey and hammy at times, and corny and cheesy, all that stuff, there is drama to it. There is something dark going on there. Like, Gore's story is really interesting. He's kind of a messed up looking character, tragic as well. I like his journey in the movie. And you also have Jane Foster's own journey as well, which is an interesting parallel to that. You know, they all kind of end up in the same place, and then big decisions have to be made, and not necessarily pleasant ones. I was pleasantly surprised that Taika Waititi resisted the urge to just make this kind of a joke fest from beginning till end. You know, like an airplane style, just like joke a second kind of deal. Because that would have become obnoxious very, very quickly. There's already too many bad jokes in there. Okay, there's already too many bad jokes. Like, there's a whole thing with the screaming goats, and it's like funny like the first time, then it keeps happening, and it's just like, okay, fine. But there are some good jokes in there as well. My favorite joke is probably Stormbreaker in this movie, because early on, Thor is very curious about Mjolnir, because Mjolnir has come back together. Jane Foster has it now. And Thor is visibly kind of like jealous, right? Thor kind of wants Mjolnir back at this point. And every time Thor is thinking about Mjolnir, Stormbreaker shows up very slowly from off screen, just like, it's just like, there's so much emotion depicted through this axe. I thought that was a very clever, very funny visual gag. I would have liked more of that, actually, and less of the actual talky jokes that Taika Waititi loves so much. But Taika Waititi, honestly, like, I'm not a huge fan, like I said, of the jokey Thor movies. I like a good kind of like serious Thor movie now and again, not always, just now and again. And I'm kind of tired of, I don't want a third kind of funny Thor movie. But considering I was not looking forward to this movie, and Thor Ragnarok was already very jokey, but I liked it, and I kind of like this movie as well. He's done a good job, like, as a director. You can tell that this guy is not just in it for the memes, okay? He's kind of in it for the memes, but he's a solid director as well, and I appreciate that about him. Now, back to the story. Thor, Valkyrie, Mighty Thor, they go to Omnipotent World, or whatever it's called, city, Omnipotent City, which is this kind of like planet of gods, where the gods go. There's like a big show that Zeus is putting on, and Zeus is played by Russell Crowe, who does a surprisingly decent kind of Greek accent, which I didn't expect that. I thought he was gonna do just a typical Russell Crowe voice, but he does a good job with the accent, honestly. And they go ask Zeus for help, okay, because gods are getting killed left and right. This Gore guy is taking the kids. He's about to do some crazy shit to all the gods. And then Zeus is like, nah, I'm not worried about that. It's fine. It's fine. What's he gonna do? You know? And so this leads to a complete shit show where Thor and the others end up fighting Zeus. And Thor kills Zeus. And but it's a funny scene. Like, I mean, there's the whole bit in the trailer where like Thor is naked all of a sudden. You flicked too hard, damn it! It's I guess. I mean, it's not that funny. And then like the girls are eating popcorn. Olives, sorry. It's like popcorn. It's the popcorn meme, but with olives, okay. It's corny. It's not that funny. Korg comes back, even though he dies in that scene. I don't know. This whole sequence could have been handled a bit better, I think. That there was definitely room for improvement there. So they decide, screw Zeus, we'll just take his lightning bolt, his weapon, and then we'll just go. We'll just deal with it, you know? So then they go to the Shadow Realm, and it's a really cool idea to have, when they enter the Shadow Realm, everything turns to black and white. Like, the whole image turns to black and white. I thought that was cool. Not a bad idea. And it makes the whole sequence, like, very interesting in terms of, like, the kind of deep shadows and everything. I liked it. So there's a fight between Gore and everybody. They kind of get their asses kicked, okay? in terms of like Valkyrie is basically done at this point. Like this is the scene where they could have killed Valkyrie but didn't have the balls to do it. So she's just injured, and then she has to go back to New Asgard, and she's basically useless from that point on. Again, another reason why you should have probably taken her out right there and then. Maybe give her her own Disney Plus series I don't have to watch. Maybe do that. I'd be up for that. Anywho, Gore does come out on top in this sequence though, because he grabs Stormbreaker at the last second, and now he has everything he needs to open the portal to eternity. The Jane Foster story is more complicated, it turns out, than we thought it was, because she thought she was regaining health every time she used Mjolnir and became the mighty Thor. In fact, quite the opposite. Holding the hammer was actually killing her faster than, she was already dying. So Thor is kind of like, you should probably rest, stay in the hospital. I'm going to try and deal with it. Don't worry about me. I've got Zeus's, lightning bolt. I'll be fine. So he goes to Eternity's altar, and Gore has the children there, because they still didn't recover the children all this time. And he's placed Stormbreaker, and Stormbreaker is slowly opening the portal, because it's got to be slow, because we need a fight scene. And Thor is kind of outmatched, right? Because he can't compete with the power of Gore, who has all these like shadow monsters that show up and stuff, and then he can't quite do it by himself. So he gets, instead of what I thought was going to happen, which is he hires the help of the Guardians of the Galaxy, who would come back at the end of the movie and create some awesome final fight scene. No, that doesn't happen. He instead uses the power of the Zeus's lightning bolt to make the kids super powerful, so they fight the monsters, leaving him time to stop Gore. And it's just like, then you've got like basically Thor like hiring an army of children to defeat the bad guy. And it's like, okay, I can see the humor in it. It's not meant to be serious at all. But it's lame. Like, it's not even that it's like, oh my god, think of the children. Why would you enslave the children like this? Involve the children in war! I don't care about that. No, it's more like just lame. It's kind of lame because you got the kids running around, and the joke is that they're kids doing awesome, like, godlike things, and it's not that funny. And the action scene is actually, like, made worse by having like these kids like take part in it. It's not like the stunts is shitty, it's all CGI. It's not. Imagine if the Guardians of the Galaxy had been fighting the shadow monsters instead of frickin' these kids. How much better would that have been? One of the kids, by the way, I didn't mention earlier, is the son of Heimdall, played by Idris Elba, of course, who died. The character died a little while ago. And a lot has been done about this kind of special effect of like the kid's face just like floating, because Thor can communicate with the kids when they've been kidnapped just as a hologram kind of thing. I don't know. And when the kids see Thor, like, he looks like Thor. It's like he's in the room. When he sees the kids, it's like just a floating head of Heimdall's son, and it looks like crap. Granted, but it's not that shocking. Like, it's not a great effect, but it's like big deal, you know? So anyway, Gore opens the portal, and they all end up, like, the mighty Thor, of course, comes back. Jane Foster is just like, I can't just, like, sit here in the hospital and die. I might as well die in battle like a hero. Spoilers, this is what happens, okay? She survives, but she is just dying, right? So there in eternity is just kind of completely white. There's nothing there except the wishing kind of like portal or whatever. And Gore, you know, starts to see the error of his ways. Gore starts to kind of reject the Necro Sword, okay? And he's just like, he makes a big decision and wishes for his daughter back, right? Instead of wishing the death of all the gods. But of course this means he's gonna die. And Jane Foster is also dying. He's kind of moved by Thor, you know, caring about Jane Foster and how she's also weak, and it reminds him of when his daughter was dying in his arms. So Gore ultimately makes the right decision, and Thor kind of lets him know that he'll take care of the daughter. She will, you know, she'll be okay. And so the daughter comes back to life, Gore dies, and Jane Foster dies. But, of course, because she died in battle, she comes back, sort of. She wakes up in Valhalla, which is the kind of heaven of the gods, where she meets Heimdall. And that's what one thing I'm wondering is like, I kind of like that ending. I'm happy with them just being in Valhalla. But you know what's going to happen, right? They're going to summon everyone back from Valhalla. Because it's Disney and it's Marvel. And no one can die. No one can ever die. Everyone has to come back all the time. Even from freaking heaven. Which has already happened like 100 times in this franchise. Not with Valhalla, but with the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? So we have that to look forward to. And we also have kind of Thor with a kid's sidekick to look forward to, which God help us. Because it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, that Love and Thunder had a meaning the whole time. Thunder is Thor, and Love is the freaking kid. And then at the end, it ends with them just being like fighting together because she's super powerful as well. Anyway, that's the movie in a nutshell. I thought a lot of stuff was well done in this movie. I thought the Jane Foster kind of story was done well enough. I thought Christian Bale was awesome. I thought Gore was a really cool character, and they did a really good job with his kind of character arc. I really liked that. Chris Hemsworth, reliable, did a good job. There's some good jokes in there, like I said. Stunning visuals, as usual. Bold ideas visually, I really appreciated. Russell Crowe as Zeus was funny. I liked him. This movie's a good time, honestly. Like, I didn't expect to enjoy it that much, but I had a freaking good time. I don't know what to tell you, all right? I was sitting there, occasionally kind of laughing, occasionally cringing a little bit. But altogether, I was down with this ride, I was just like, all right. I was just sitting back, enjoying the pretty stuff going on. It's like a scene at the beginning where Thor destroys this, crystal palace in some random planet, thinking he's kicking out. That was actually a good sequence because he's doing all these crazy heroic things, but to a ridiculous extent. He's doing a split with two motorbikes going to credits. They're like space bikers. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Sequence is very, very silly, and this movie overall is very silly, but I was just very happy that there's some serious stuff in this movie as well. There's a character dying of cancer. There's freaking child kidnappings. There's freaking Gore. His entire story is very dark and very tragic. So I was glad there was some gravitas there. There was some drama. It wasn't just bad jokes the whole time, although there is some of that. And again, there's some stuff I didn't terribly care for about this movie, and this pizza has been sitting here. I forgot to finish it. Sorry. It's a fun movie. I recommend it as far as, Marvel movies go. I think this movie is slightly above average for me, okay? It's one of the better Phase 4 movies projects in general, okay? I would say it's a bit better than Multiverse of Madness. It's a little bit worse than Thor Ragnarok. So it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not like a masterpiece or anything. There's a lot of room for improvement, and I'm ready to go with a serious Thor project. I'm ready. We need it. I need it. Okay. But as far as it goes, not too bad. How do we end this crazy review? I know you were just gallivanting around in the garden, but it's time to say goodbye. Okay. It's time to say goodbye to the people. That's right. I already reviewed the movie. You don't need to review it now. It's done. Okay? Do you want some pizza? You can't have any. It's too salty for you. It's too salty. You won't be able to handle it. What are you doing? Take care, everybody. See you next time. Take care, everybody. See you next time.